so grateful to you, Jeff. I know how hard you work. I know how you devote your time to volunteering. I would want you to introduce yourself because yes, I know who you are and you're very dear to me, but I would like people to know, how would you describe yourself?
Well, I would describe myself as a teacher, which is actually what the definition of guru is anyway. And as the LinkedIn guru, what I do is I do free seminars. I'm a little unusual because I actually have been retired for the last 12 years. So I found LinkedIn as a tool to help me network during retirement. And I decided that the best way for me to learn how to use LinkedIn was to start teaching it to other people. So I've been doing it for about 12 years now. And
wow.
If anyone goes to my profile and looks me up, you may not find me as the only Jeff Young out there, but you probably will find me as the only LinkedIn guru out there. It says that I do approximately 60 seminars a year, and I've done about 200 seminars over the last 3 years, and they're all free, and they're all based here where I live in Columbus, Ohio. So I have a good time doing it. It's so much fun for me.
If I may ask, apart from what you do on LinkedIn, what was your career background, Jeff? What was your forte, and what did you spend all your experience in all the years?
I started out, actually, I was the techie. Okay.
Oh, I mean, okay.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Talking, right?
At times in my life, I was so technical that you could see the propeller on my head.
Oh, my God. That's.
I was actually IT. I started out as an information technology programmer back in the days, long enough ago that they didn't even call it information technology. Mm-hmm. They called it business data processing back then.
Wow.
And that turned into IT. And that meant being a programmer, actually keyboarding programs, and I won't go for how far back I was into the what was called punch card era and those kind of things. But doing that was actually very, very rewarding for me because it was something that made me feel like I had gave me a real sense of accomplishment. I could make a machine do what I wanted it to do. Okay, and if you're good enough at it, somebody will eventually come to you and say, you know, you're pretty good at this. How would you like to manage other people who do that? And that's how I got more into the soft skills side of things and became a project manager. And then ultimately, after being a project manager for many years, for about 16 years of my life, I spent being a consultant, okay? And about 9 years into being that consultant, I found out that I had a whole lot more fun teaching consultants about how to be a consultant than being one myself, which is where I turned over and found my real why, which is me becoming a teacher. So that was fun.
What a phenomenal story. What a journey. Wow.
It was fun. About 35 years worth of time before I retired. And again, each of those things is just another chapter. I mean, you know, one of the things that was really an epiphany for me, and I don't know how many of the folks that are going to be watching this are in the job search process, but I've had to be in the job search process at least twice. And one of those times was for actually 14 months. And that's why I have tried to give back. That's where LinkedIn kind of got its start. And I still, about 60% of the people I teach are actually in the job search process. And I think the key to this process is that it's not changed over time other than the way things happen. It's more online. The internet didn't even exist back when I did it once, you know, those kinds of things. Mm-hmm. But the thing that hasn't changed is that networking is still one of the most important things that you could ever do.
Sure.
And using a tool like LinkedIn to network actually makes you more effective at it. Well, and even if a person isn't even a part of your network, I think the way that I see some people use LinkedIn is just brilliant because they're willing to just go out there and ask a question to the world.
Yes.
You know, and there's only 675 million of your closest friends out there, right? Mm-hmm. You know, so sooner or later, if you do that consistently enough, somebody's going to answer that question. You're going to get an answer to your question, probably from a total stranger, because people are willing to contribute to that and answer your questions and provide you help because they've been in the same situation before and they like to give back. It's just wonderful.
It is.
I mean, you and I have a mutual friend in Toronto that just loves LinkedIn.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, exactly. And I also just love LinkedIn. I literally could spend all day on it. I don't, but
Yeah.
I spend a great deal of my time on it. And I'm spending more time on it now, especially since we're in a lockdown, stay-at-home environment. Right? That's my vehicle. I'm an extrovert by nature, and that's my vehicle to get out there and actually interact with people. And I love it when I can do this with people, because I use a tool that allows me to do video calls with people all the time, and that's again how I stay in touch. And the great news is that even if it's a person in the United Kingdom, even if it's a person in India, even if it's a person that is 16 time zones away in Australia, you can still have one of these video calls.
If I may ask, has it impacted your day-to-day in any way? How are you coping with it?
Well, me not so much, because again, as I said, a lot of my time was spent, at least parts of my time was spent virtually. It has impacted me because, as I said before, I do 60 seminars a year.
Yeah, that's
well. My seminars in March just disappeared, and my seminars, because I don't know whether I said this before, but if I didn't, I meant to say that I also do butts and seats. I'm basically face to face with the people that I'm doing the seminars for. So that's disappeared. So my world has turned more virtual. Okay, and everybody's has. And the real change for me has been not being able to go out and be face to face with almost anybody. I'm not even being able to go to a restaurant. It's been about 2 weeks now since the restaurants closed here in the U.S. Well, at least my state in the U.S. And it's amazing. I was talking with my better half this morning. I was saying, I really didn't realize how much I would miss just going out to sit down in a restaurant and have food with a bunch of people sitting around. It's amazing. But
yeah, people have been saying that over here too. Like, I miss going for just a coffee and sitting in a coffee shop and being able to sip my coffee. But that said, the times like this require from us to stay safe, and the best that we can do is stay safe ourselves and make sure that we don't bring any infections home.
Yes.
Life is a blessing. We are alive, and I'm like, this is going to pass. We will be able to go back to what we normally do. I guess a few things will change for sure. Now people will change a few things around.
But I think that's a valid point. This will end. It will go back to normal, maybe a new normal. I don't know, eventually. But one of the things that really has amazed me is that it's really pretty easy as you go around or online or offline to pick up on people are actually deciding to be a little bit more kind. It's really made a big difference. One of the things I saw the other day is that when I went into my favorite restaurant, because our restaurants are still allowing takeout. Okay, well, when I went into my favorite restaurant to get something, I said, "How is this affecting you? Are you guys okay?" And they said, "Well, we do some catering business. That's kind of, like for the first week, it was kind of falling off, and it was, chaos because people were panicking and not knowing what to do. The second week, things were getting a little bit better. But for me, what I decided to do is that I said, all right, I'll be back to support you, on a daily basis." And then I thought about it for a second longer, and I say, hey, wait a minute. What if I buy a gift card from your restaurant? Do you get the money, all of the money? And they said, yeah, the only difference is we get the influx of cash now as opposed to later. And I went, would that help you? And they said, sure. And I said, okay, fine, I'll buy a gift card. So that was my act of kindness to the restaurant to help support them and make sure that they could stay in business a little bit longer, because I don't want them to go out of business. They're my favorite place.
That's so heartwarming to hear, Jeff. I have seen people in Toronto. They've started groups on Facebook, Caremongers. We have a similar group here, Angels for COVID-19 in our neighborhood. Our neighborhood itself, my own street, we have a WhatsApp group. We call it the Neighbors Safety Net, and people have been sharing there, asking others if they needed anything or if they could get them anything. It's so nice to have that connection with others, and to see that the human side of
Yes.
people,
Yes.
which normally everybody's so rushing and passing by. You don't get that often enough.
It gets taken for granted often,
Mhm.
right? And you and I both know that this
Decide
was
to be
already in
kind.
effect before this all started.
Where
But
is
but this has
mine?
become a lot more important to me now than it ever was before.
You know what? This is I have it too. I have it right here, and I'm sure our common friend, would be very happy to see that we were both.
There it is. Yep.
There you go.
Yeah, I like it. I like the fact that you put the LinkedIn superhero side out, since I put the side to be
Yeah, and that's you. So that's
yeah, it's amazing, isn't it?
Yes, it is. I cannot say it enough how grateful I am for the relationships and the friendships I have, whether they're online or in person. It really makes a big difference. It does to have nice people in your life.
It does. And I think, again, for folks who are tense about this, who are concerned about it, it's a natural reaction.
Yeah.
It's okay. But my advice would be to do just what we've been talking about. Reach out to your network. Reach out and start talking and sending something to somebody. Sure, I mean, you can't necessarily do everybody in your network, but sending a person a message just to check in on them and see, I hope you're safe and well, what's been up with you, is enough. It starts that conversation going again, and the more we have of those conversations, the more of that kindness that will be generated, because that's a kind thing to do in the first place.
Absolutely. What are a few tips that you want to share for everybody? And because LinkedIn is your thing, let's talk about LinkedIn. What can people do in the meantime to stay connected, to stay calm, and maybe use their time wisely while we navigate this surge of the pandemic passing? What can they do? What could be done?
First of all, I would say go back to your LinkedIn profile and give it a review. It's time for a little spring cleaning, right? I mean, it's almost spring, so go out there and make sure that your profile's up to date, or use this time to do something like feature a piece of media that you want to put out there. One of the newest things on LinkedIn is that they've separated the About section, and now there's a section below it called Featured.
Featured, yeah.
I just got it.
I've had it for a while. I've been posting.
Yeah, I've been waiting on it. I love it. I mean, it's great, and I just got it, as a matter of fact, yesterday. Mm-hmm. So it was fantastic to see it out there, and you can move things around again, and you can feature all kinds of things.
Yeah.
So making your profile more of exactly what it is that you want to be when you grow up, okay, is a really good idea. Okay. Mm-hmm. The second thing is that also on LinkedIn, it's a really good way for you to, as I said, reach out. So we talked about sending messages to somebody to keep in touch, but how about maybe being, again, got to get it up here, right?
Hey.
How about maybe, deciding to be kind, okay, and going out there and giving somebody a recommendation, or giving somebody an endorsement on a couple of their skills or something along those lines. Those are also keeping in touch.
Yes,
and there's
this is the time to appreciate others, and those things, or writing a recommendation can be such a powerful act in the time when people are feeling low or a little down, or just apprehensive of how things are. So that would really make somebody's day.
It did. It does mine. I mean, as a matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, the last recommendation, my most recent recommendation on my profile is yours for me. So,
because you are amazing. And we must mention, because we've shown Decide to be Kind, we've shown LinkedIn Superhero. Let's not keep people guessing. We are speaking about Shelley Elslager,
Yes.
based in Toronto, a
Okay,
common
thank you.
friend, a very, very dear common friend for both of us, who started the Decide to Be Kind campaign in January, and who gives
Yes.
on LinkedIn every single day.
Yes.
She posts pick me up, she posts resources, and somebody that you should definitely take the time to check out.
Yep. Well, and she's always sharing content. She's always sharing outstanding tips.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, right after I got the featured section, okay, so Shelley, I think you already know this, but if you're listening, I took her 100 question assessment and I dropped it onto my media section in the featured section as the second thing that was on there so that people could find it. Because I'm pointing people to that all the time. So it's a wonderful resource, and so is she. So, you know, and she, you're absolutely right. She coins this term, social reciprocity. Okay?
That's right.
And all that really means is the same thing that I talk about all the time. I've talked about it before. I've talked about it in a recent post, as a matter of fact, about the fact that the N in network stands for never stop giving. And, you know, it's really
Such
the best way to network, because every time you do that, you're going to get 10 times back what you give every single time.
I agree with you, and I second you on that 110%. You give just one time, there's just so much that comes back to you. So give freely, and I definitely hear that. What would be something that can help people who are using this time to enhance or shine? What can they do? One is just to make it more polished, but how can they stand out? What can they do to really get the attention?
Well, in many instances, I think where the rubber meets the road with LinkedIn is a couple of things that can help you build a brand, okay, if you will. One of the things that you might want to consider is thinking about a hashtag that might actually work for you really, really well. It is amazing to me how, well, the illustration I almost always use is that if you go out to Google and you search for Jeff Young, you're going to find a ton of stuff because it's such a common name, right? And I get, if I'm lucky, I get one listing on the first page. If you go out to search on Google for hashtag the LinkedIn Guru, and it does have to be the LinkedIn Guru because there's other LinkedIn gurus out there, but the LinkedIn Guru gets me on Google results, the entire first page of Google results. How on earth could that happen? Well, it happens because I use it all the time.
That's right.
And so that's one of the things that you can do in addition to polishing. The other one, I think more than anything else, is actually, and one of the ways that you can find your tribe out on LinkedIn, just like Shelley does, and you do, okay, is share content. Think about sharing content. And I don't, be comfortable with whatever content you want. It can be text, it can be videos, it can be pictures, it can, whatever it is, but just share that content out there and get involved in the conversation. You know, just actually go out there and share some of your own stuff, and then go out there occasionally and like and comment and share some of your network stuff, okay? Because again, getting involved in that conversation the engagement is where things really happen. That's where you really learn stuff. That's really where you can share stuff.
That's so true.
Well, and you don't have to do that every single day. You know, two problems that people, or two issues that I discover all the time with people, they don't know what to share, okay? Well, first of all, share something you know about. That should be fine. You know, figure out what you might want to give to someone else as a tip and share it. That's easy, right? And then the second thing is you don't have to do it constantly. You know, you could be sharing something once a minute. You could be sharing something once a month. Neither one of those is the right number. Somewhere in the middle there is the right number. And for me, that's only ended up being 2 or 3 times a week. I share something 2 or 3 times a week, and I share it usually, I don't plan it. It's pretty much ad hoc. I just share it when I have an idea about what I want to pass along to other people because of the other conversations I've had on LinkedIn. And I end up sharing it. And I'm all about, if anyone goes to my profile, and you've seen this before as well, if anybody goes to my profile, I'm all about C's, whichever one of those looks right. Okay. You know, I say I'm volunteer and I get paid in coffee, conversation, and occasionally chocolate. Well, C's apply to this as well when we're talking about sharing, because here's the C's that I talk about. Content is king. Okay, so it makes a huge difference about what you're sharing and how you're sharing it. Okay, context. Okay, so content is king. Context is King Kong. Okay, because it's about the context of who you're giving it to. You should be talking to your audience. Okay, so that's where the context comes in. And then the third one of those C's is content is king, context is King Kong, but consistency is King Kong's mother. Okay.
Wow, that's powerful.
Because of the fact that you do it consistently, people start to expect it. People start to look for your stuff.
Yeah, that's so true. And that's what I when I am talking to people, I always say that be sure, it does not matter. Even if you're going to do it, let's say every 15 days, then try to be consistent with every 15 days. That was one of the reasons I was not starting a blog, because I was like, I do so many more. I have, like, you know, I might not be as consistent. And then that's recently I realized, okay, my blog is going to be my spoken word, and I don't want to be consistent on. That's one platform I don't want to be consistent on. So it will flow as I feel.
Yeah. You don't have to, but you have to be consistent enough to do something on a consistent basis.
Yeah, right? Not like I go there after 6 months and say, hi, I'm back. Not that kind of inconsistent, but like it's not. It won't be like every week or every 10 days. It's gonna happen. It's gonna come at intervals. But yeah, I'm working on that part.
And that's the point. The consistency is the interval. Okay, whether that be a monthly blog or a monthly newsletter or whatever form it takes, it is there every single time, and you can always point people to it. And if you do it long enough, because again, that's one of the things that, you know, people sometimes also, one of the mistakes people make about thinking about LinkedIn is they think it's a silver bullet. You know, if I'm on LinkedIn, that's all I got to do, right? No, it's not like that. It's actually the process of LinkedIn is the more you put into LinkedIn, the more you get out of LinkedIn. And literally it ends up taking off. And oh, by the way, another friend of mine in Australia talks about it being a marathon, not a sprint. Okay, sure. It means that you have to do something a lot over time. Yeah. And I think the key to that is just making it a part of your normal operating procedure, whatever you normally do. So for me, part of that consistency is getting up every single day, grabbing a cup of coffee, and spending a half an hour on LinkedIn, reading what's going on, maybe popping in a comment or two, etc. That consistency for me has helped me engage with a whole lot of people, including people who are halfway around the world who might be asleep while I'm doing my thing. Because I'll comment, and then later on when they wake up, they'll comment, and etc. The conversation still happens.
You know what, you made such a valid point, because I now see how businesses and recruiters are using it. Back in the day, it wasn't as popular, but now you can just go online and find such key information that can actually give you insights. It could be reports, it could be what's the new trend or what the organization is doing, and that can help people tailor their messaging and their profiles, and that can definitely be a huge part of career growth when they are in that job search mode.
Yeah, right? Absolutely. Yep. Well, and also one other general little tip is that the more you engage, the more you get of what you engaged with. There's this thing out there on LinkedIn called the algorithm.
Yeah, that's true.
And the algorithm is always in the background watching what you do. So only engage with the stuff that you like, okay? Only engage with the stuff that you want to see more of. For heaven's sake, if you think something is spam, don't get on there and comment that it's spam. Because if you do, the algorithm goes, oh, you want to see some more of that? Here you go. I'll give you a whole bunch more.
Oh yeah,
It doesn't work very well.
Stay away from, and that's another thing. Stay away from negative comments. Stay away from
Absolutely.
getting into conversations that are not required or uncalled for. Keep away. If you don't like it, don't see it. Don't go on it. I mean, just unless it's something that needs to be reported and blocked.
Oh,
you don't need to be there. If it's something that needs attention in that manner, then certainly go ahead, make sure you're blocking the person or the content and then reporting it, because then that can harm other people too.
Yes, well, and again, there are so many people out there that's going to happen. But if it's offensive, if it's racist, if it's, etc., it's just not worth your time. So just click the three dots, report it, and move on. Because honestly, it has to be self-policing. Social media has to be self-policing. Because there's nobody with enough resources to go out there and watch every single thing that's going on. It's just not going to happen.
That's beyond expectations, and it's just not worth the time.
Yep. But I got to tell you that over time, again, I mean, one of the things that I used to see out on LinkedIn a lot of was math problems, or if you can solve this, you're a genius, kind of, back in the day that happened, but I swear I haven't seen any kind of thing like that for 5 years at least.
No, it's changed. It's changed.
A much better environment.
Yeah, and I like the new LinkedIn and the new changes that are coming with the content that's relevant and which you want to read, which you want to spend time on, which you want to engage with. Tell me something now that we're speaking about it. Have you witnessed any other acts that you want to really applaud? You already did with Shelley's.
Shelley, sure.
Yeah, but then have there been any other which you really want to speak about?
Well, yeah, I think it's a good opportunity for us to give another shout out, okay, to a gentleman that I know and have come to know in Arizona, by the name of Russ Johns. Okay. I highly recommend that people find and follow his hashtag, which is #PirateBroadcast. Okay. Because you are never going to find a more positive or kind individual than Russ. I've come to know him over the last year or so, and he does a Pirate Broadcast podcast or LinkedIn Live every single day, Monday through Friday.
Wow.
I know. And
that's a commitment. Well, that's one commitment.
It's right up his alley because he used to be a radio show host.
Oh, okay. All right.
So he's used to doing it like that. But the reason I want to highlight him, you'll see it immediately, and you'll see it. They're nice and they're nice and concise. They're only about a half an hour long, every single one of them. Okay. But I gotta give a shout out to Russ because of the fact that he does something that is at the end of every single one of his shows, and during his shows, he talks about two hashtags. Okay. He talks about the first hashtag being #kindness is cool. Okay. And the second one is smiles are free. #smiles are free.
Oh, so sweet. That's so sweet.
He is just one of the nicest individuals I've ever found in the world. So, I think I would highly recommend that people check him out as well. He's just fantastic.
That's so wonderful.
Oh, and he does exactly what you're doing here. I've actually been a guest on his show. And so he has a different guest pretty much 4 or 5 times out of the week. Shelley's been on there, I think. I've been on there. So many other people, have been on there as well. And it's fantastic because he talks about the fact that he loves to just have people who he loves to showcase interesting people doing interesting things.
Yeah. Tell me something. I know you do so much for the others, for everyone around you, for the online community. If I was to ask you this question, if there's a magic wand and you are able to ask one wish, and this has to be for you.
For me?
What would you? Yes, for you, because you do so much for others. This magic wand said, ask something for yourself now. What would that be?
I think more than anything, if I could wave a magic wand, I would just be able to make sure that every single person that came across me in terms of physically or even online would follow me, okay, on LinkedIn, because that's where I'm really, that's really where I can make the biggest difference. So,
Wow.
go to my profile and tap the follow button. And if I could grow that network, by thousands, every month, I would be such a happy camper, because that's a part of my network as well. Yes, I have a very close-knit number of connections, one of which you are, okay, but I don't have a huge number of connections, but I do have a lot of followers, and the more followers, and I'm not, it's not about me. I'm not trying to be a Bill Gates.
That is where I was going. Like, yeah,
I got
that you're also still trying to give back again, because the followers will receive all the amazing information that you share.
And that's my point. I can help more people, the more people that follow me. And so I'm not trying to be Bill Gates or Richard Branson or I don't want millions of followers necessarily. I just want to be able to help as many people as possible. So, just that would be the favor I would ask. That's the wand I would wave and tap everybody and have them follow me, because all they got to do is go to my profile, click the follow button, and it happens.
So apart from LinkedIn, do you recommend them to follow somewhere else as well?
Follow, I'm sorry, follow what?
I said, apart from LinkedIn, would you like them to follow you elsewhere on any other social media platform, or your favorite is going to be just LinkedIn?
Yeah, for me, being the LinkedIn guru, where else would you find me, right? So yes, for me, I'm obviously concentrating on LinkedIn.
On LinkedIn, that's wonderful. All right, so one last thing that you would want to share as a giveaway, what would that be? That one key concept that can help people and that you'd want to share?
Well, first of all, rely on hope, okay? Because you can't lose sight of hope. And the way that you continue to grow is to reach out to your network. Use this time to do that now, because it will pay dividends when all this blows away and it comes back to normal. Because more than anything else, I think, isn't it, I can't remember, I think it's Maya Angelou that says, people will not remember what you said, people will not remember what you did.
Maya Angelou says,
will remember how you made them
feel. Absolutely. This is amazing. It's been wonderful talking to you, Jeff. You are phenomenal, and I'm just so grateful to have your friendship and have you in my circle. My hashtags are my circle and make the way. Also, absolutely. Making the way.
Perfect.
Which I'm very grateful for to have you in.
And you're living those every day.
Thank you. I really appreciate you taking this much time talking to me and sharing all those resources. Thank you from the bottom of my heart.
My pleasure.
Please make sure to like and subscribe and ring the notification bell to keep updated with all our videos. Thank you.